Ever get that feeling like, when your desk is about to I don't know, sabotage your whole day? Or maybe with that pile of laundry, the one just sitting there in the corner, and it's like it's single-handedly responsible for you procrastinating on everything. Okay, maybe not quite to that extent, but
Yeah.
today we are diving deep. We're going deep into this really interesting link between, well, clutter, procrastination, and get this, what it all says about us as people.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, right? We're so quick to just label a messy space, any messy space really, as just straight up disorganized. But what if it's actually like a window into something way deeper, something more meaningful?
And that is exactly what we're going to try to figure out today. What we've got is this fascinating case study. It's from Virginie Conversational Hypnosis course. And get this, it's about this woman, they call her Lena, total rock star in her professional life, meticulous, organized, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But there's a catch. It's only in very specific areas of her life, very specific zones.
Yeah, it's like she's got her color-coded files, her bookshelves are perfectly aligned, but then bam, total chaos outside of those little bubbles of order she creates.
It's like she sets up these force fields of organization, and anything outside that perimeter is like fair game.
Hmm.
But it's more than that, right? It's about how this impacts her, like on an emotional level.
Oh, absolutely. This
Yeah.
isn't just like, oh, I have a messy desk. This is affecting her energy, her focus, everything.
Seriously, she actually says she feels suffocated by it all. Suffocated by the clutter. Like, it's not even stuff anymore. It's this weight, this heavy weight on her ability to actually, be productive.
Totally. And she even links it to procrastination,
Hmm.
saying she feels drained, uninspired, and this is all in her own home. And it gets even more interesting. Ready for this?
Hit me with it. I'm hooked.
She admits to actually leaving her house to work. We're talking setting up shop at a train station because the energy in her own home is that stifling.
Hold on, wait. A train station. Okay,
Mhm.
that is next level. Clearly, something else is going on here, right? This isn't just needing a weekend of tidying up.
Exactly. This is about going way deeper, uncovering the why behind all the clutter. Why a train station? Why these super strict zones of order? What is happening in Lena's mind that's being reflected in her physical environment?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's what we're going to find out right after this quick break. Okay, so we've got Lena, this high-powered professional woman, right? And she's literally seeking refuge in a train station. To escape the energy of her own home, it's serious.
Mhm.
When even the train station seems more productive, right?
And that's where it gets even more fascinating,
Mhm.
because it's not about the piles of books or the stray papers. It's about something much, much deeper.
Okay, so then how do we even begin to kind of unpack all of this?
Well, remember those force fields of organization that we talked about? When Lena talks about those, her language, it actually starts to reveal like a lot about what's going on in her subconscious, her beliefs about all of this.
Okay, I'm listening. Tell me more.
For example, she says, and I quote, "My closets. I can't stand them being messy."
It's not even like, oh, I prefer them to be organized, right?
No, it's visceral. It's like a rule.
Like she's breaking some kind of a law.
Exactly. And then later she says, if something happened to me, at least my things would be in order for other people.
Hold on. What? So her organization, it's for other people.
It's more common than you might think, believe it or not. Our desire for order, a lot of times, it comes from this place of needing validation from others.
So we're putting on a show for everyone else.
In a way, yeah. And where do you think these patterns come from?
Oh, let me guess. Childhood.
Bingo.
Of course.
And what a surprise. Lena goes on to describe how her mother always pressured her to have a totally spotless, tidy workspace. Like it was the only way to be a good kid, a worthy person.
It's like tidy desk, good kid, messy desk. Oh boy, you're in trouble.
It's incredible how these things repeat themselves in adulthood, isn't it?
So what you're saying, our clutter is like a subconscious flashback to our childhood?
Yeah.
That's kind of fascinating, but also slightly terrifying?
It is the link, though, isn't it?
I guess so.
And for Lena, this is actually, it's even more literal than that.
Oh no.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
The stuff that's cluttering her home now, it's the same kind of stuff that used to be all over her childhood desk.
Oh wow, so it's not just random clutter. It's like clutter with a direct line to all of her childhood anxieties.
You got it. It's like her environment is literally echoing this old anxiety, this, am I good enough? Am I organized enough? And that realization, that right there, that's often the key to making real, lasting change.
So we're talking about clutter, like it's practically a time machine, right? Back to all those childhood anxieties playing out in our living rooms. But how do we actually break free from this? Especially if it's barely even a conscious thing, right?
Well, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And you know me, I love a good deep dive. Remember how the practitioner kept asking Lena about what wasn't clear in her mind?
Yeah, and she kept kind of dodging the question, right?
Yeah.
Steering it back to like the piles of stuff instead of what was going on in her head.
Exactly. It's like she knew there was something lurking beneath the surface, but wasn't quite ready to face it head on.
Makes sense. Who wants to voluntarily walk into that kind of mental clutter, right? But then there was that whole thing where Lena starts comparing herself to a disorganized lawyer she met, like almost trying to convince herself that a messy desk doesn't equal a failed career or something.
It is fascinating, isn't it? Like she's seeking external validation to combat this deeply ingrained internal belief.
Totally. But that external validation, it's like a Band-Aid on, well, a much bigger issue. It's not going to magically erase those deep-seated beliefs, right?
Exactly. And that's where those pivotal questions from the practitioner come in, the ones that really shake things up. Like when she asks, what if you could find a way to be seen as reliable, even if things were, well, a bit messy?
Right. That challenges the core belief directly. Like, your worth isn't tied to your organizational skills, no matter how much your inner critic says so.
Precisely. And Lena's response, that would be nice, but she's still holding on to that old story.
It's amazing how deep those grooves run, isn't it?
Mm.
But then comes the real zinger. What if everything was perfectly organized, but you weren't seen as reliable? What did Lena say to that?
No way, that wouldn't work at all. The reaction is visceral, pure gold. It exposes her core fear that she's only as valuable as her organizational skills. All those early experiences, they coalesce into this defining belief. The clutter, just a symptom, a physical manifestation of that deeper anxiety.
So, real change, it's not about color-coded binders or perfectly arranged sock drawers, is it? It's about digging deep, confronting those ingrained beliefs about self-worth that are fueling the chaos in the first place.
You got it. It's about rewriting the narrative, not just rearranging the furniture. And you know what's really interesting? Once Lena voices that fear, that deep-seated terror of being found out, you can almost hear the tension release in her voice. And get this, nothing in her physical space has actually changed yet.
Wow, so just naming it, giving that fear a voice, it's like it created space.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively. It's pretty wild when you think about it.
It's powerful stuff. And from that point on, even Lena's language starts to shift. She's no longer talking about having to be organized. It's, I could create a space for. There's possibility there now, options she couldn't even see before because of all that internal clutter.
It's amazing how much our physical environments can reflect our internal states, isn't it? It's like holding on to old clothes, old beliefs, old patterns. It can really block new energy, new opportunities from flowing in.
Absolutely. And that's what I hope our listeners take away from Lena's story today. It's not about achieving perfect organization, because let's face it, who has the time? It's about asking yourself, what would make me feel more spacious, more free right now? Would it be tidying up that overflowing inbox? Or maybe, just maybe, it's about letting go of an old limiting belief that's been holding you back. That's something to think about.
It really is. Well, on that note, we're wrapping up another deep dive. As always, a huge thanks to our amazing expert for, well, being amazing.
Always a pleasure. Until next time, happy decluttering, everyone.